Namaste, Jai Bharat. As on today, my nation Bharat has the worst ever opposition that any of our parliament ever had. They are destruction or destructive only in capital letters in toto. They don't appreciate anything appreciable. They will speak lies to criticize and spread lies to criticize and do such petty things which is a shame to the entire nation, and quite a few of them walks abroad Bharat and demonstrates how anti-nationalist they are. This, when I say, I am very conscious and aware that everyone knows it. Everyone is aware about it. And they wait. Hindus have tremendous patience. When President Trump has gone erratic with his tariff dances, many have enjoyed it. That, if you talk about, I don't know who really said we have a 2.5 war. Two enemies, China, Pakistan. Of course, now Pakistan includes East Pakistan. And the 0.5 is the enemy within. The anti-nationals live in this nation, eat from this nation, and wag their trail for the enemies of this nation. जिस थाली से खाता है उसी में बड़ा प्यार से छेद बना देता है. That is the 0.5. So our battle is always 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, plus this half. That is a brutal truth we are supposed to address. We do understand it, we do address that. But eventually, as yesterday, so the Supreme Court of US, yesterday, day before somewhere, I'm not very sure, they have frozen Trump's tariff scheme because he had used an authority which does not really exist as on now to impose such tariffs, and such an authority he can only exercise in case of emergency, and at the moment there is no such emergency which calls for imposing such one-sided tariffs through the whims of advances of the President of US. So this is the rough kind of expression of the Supreme Court of US. And President Trump is Trump. He immediately comes with a solution to this of trying to enact another norm or law which gives a kind of provision which is actually economic emergency position, where he can impose tariff up to 15% for 150 days, and within these 150 days he has to conduct inquiry and find justification that there is economic emergency. So he had enacted that. So as the case stands, we were on a talking mode with the US authority. Bharat never had any antagonistic relation with the US government in spite of such erratic tariffs which are absolutely irrational and objectionable, and such kind of statements that used to come right from President Trump to his supporters and subordinates and followers, and many times they are blatant lies, Bharat had not reacted. There are very many reasons why Bharat had not reacted. That suppose you are sitting on top of an elephant and moving, and several stray dogs are barking around you won't bother. And something which is not to be answered must not be answered. Because trying to answer a dump situation would redeem you dumb. And for foolish questions, foolish discussions, Mukam karoti vachalam, Bhagavad Gita. Silence speaks volumes. Mukam karoti vachalam, Bhagavad Gita. You don't have to go up to Rigveda or the Upanishads. Gita ji tells everything actually, as a matter of fact. Shortcut, practical, easy to understand. So, my Prime Minister is Motabhai doesn't talk to nonsense, doesn't reply to nonsense, because he is a Praja of Dwaragadhisha. And he understands Mukam Karoti Vachalam. He doesn't know how to speak, and he wouldn't speak. But these 0.5 people, those 0.5 category people, wanted him to speak so that they can speak, and the only thing they know is to speak and do nothing. They had done nothing for all these years of Bharat's political so-called independence, which really is not independence. Independence would mean a citizen of Bharat lives with dignity and remain not hungry. He must have work to do. He will work and live, not through cheating. Industrious we are. On an average, Bharatiya citizens are hard-working and they love to earn legitimate livelihood. Dharma prevails. The 0.5 people cannot destroy dharma. They would live a dharmic life. But there are people who are the majority who would live making legitimate living through sweat, working hard. They do double work when required. They have such mentality, but they don't want anything free or through shortcut, except the communists who teach us this to their cadre. They are always there. They'll go for shortcut without working. Well, that is a different story. So, this Mukam Karoti Vachalam is what? Reply doesn't go. No need to talk to nonsense. So, as it is with the present law, Trump can impose maximum 15% only. So, now there are these critics with the 0.5 people everywhere in our nation who talk about critique of critical criticism. I'm just saying this word, critique of critical criticism, because that's the name of a book written by Karl Marx. He wrote a book, many books he has written, and he has a wonderful way of writing, very poetical language he uses. One of his books' name is Holy Family, or Critique of Critical Criticism. Now, let's try to understand what my critique of critical criticism might mean. I just leave it to you as an exercise. Try to get some meaning from this. Interesting. So these critics would say, oh, Bharat had already surrendered to US because we have agreed to 18%. They made such stories that Bharat stopped buying oil from Russia. Just imagine, Bharat stopped buying crude oil from Russia in toto. Therefore, Bharat had surrendered to America. Therefore, the tariffs were brought down to 18% and such stories. Now, it's a matter of common sense that we have agreements. It's not that the government has agreements with the Russian government in buying or selling of crude oil. There are companies there in Russia. There are companies there in Bharat. Everybody wants to take our name of the Ambanis who is from next district. Not immediate next district, but Rajkot. I am from Baroda. They want to abuse Adani. And because of Adani, you know how many people are employed and live a life of dignity in this nation. That's this 0.5 people don't want to understand. They would not address. They will be happy when our fellow citizens are impoverished. At least give thanks to such people who hard work and make the name of the nation popular. Reliance Industries, Tata's, many such people who are legitimate Indians. Just because of them, how many of us are living decently, with dignity, with self-respect, and at the time belonging to this nation unconditionally. So they have contracts and agreements with the companies in Russia, and you think just because it's a fancy of somebody you can just put it off, like you switch off the main system. It's not practical. So this lie is spreading in the market, and this 0.5 people are buying it. We stopped buying. How much we buy, whether we buy or not, nobody knows for certain, for sure. But it's not possible to stop it altogether, and we will not do it. That is simple as that. How many times, and even now, President Trump says that he stopped Bharat-Pakistan war, Operation Sindoor. He keeps telling. Actually, he was scared. We now understand slowly. The stockpile, nuclear stockpile, which US had kept there and kept the soldiers there to maintain it, that was threatened. I do not know the details of attack, though there are many such versions in the market to look at, that it was destroyed this way. Many things are true. Many things that propagate within Bharat from legitimate channels are correct. We really must have attacked there. And imagine 11 airfields getting destroyed. They have taken such heavy punishment, and they will never tell others. They will keep telling that we won, and they are counting. 2 Rafales down, 6 down, then suddenly 8, 7 missing some numbers in between, some days 9, some days 11. So it is somebody's fancy. Let them say, you don't have to answer dumb questions, stupid questions. Answer sensible, intelligent questions. And our leaders are very wise. Not just intelligent, they are wise enough. They are sons of this nation. They have wisdom. They wouldn't react to dumb criticisms because they don't get affected. Let them say, I should have used the word bark, but I did not use. Let them speak whatever they feel like, and let them continue. Nothing more, nothing less. So this situation is very interesting. Spreading lies that we stopped by. We did that. We have our understanding with Russia. which is unconditional. we are not having our relations with Russia through somebody's conditions. We know who is friend, who is transparent, who is trustworthy. We know it. We knew it through generations, in spite of what all the stories people make. So this now the critical criticism from the critics is that we have done a mistake. You could have waited, and they were telling yesterday you are not answering. You could have waited, as if he knew the Supreme Court verdict will be like this. And this also, 15% is a maximum which the President can impose under this present provision which is trying to bring forward, and within 150 days he has to find justification stage. He had to conduct inquiry, bring it out, which is not possible. Which is simply not possible. And these people wanted to jump because they wanted to jump. All that they know is to jump. Or pull out their t-shirt, reverse it and write nonsense and put it. And then reverse it again and put it on their shoulder and walk around. And the people beat them up. People have become more sensible. They understand, our citizens understand that ahimsa paramo dharma, but they also understand dharma himsa tathaiva cha. We shall meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat, Jai Siya Ram.